risk their money. They have the concern that this is a startup. There is a high probability of failure. There is risk involved. So they desist from giving you money. And this creates a difficulty for you as a startup. Number one. Number second is dilution of control, as Sir was saying, whether they can have equity. Yes. Generally, these outsiders, because venture capitalists आपको तब देते हैं when you have already started the business. तब जाके venture capitalist आता है. Now you are doing the business, उनको लगता है कि your business is good, idea is good, it will succeed, they will give you the money. But they become the shareholders, they get the equity. लेकिन जितना आप ज्यादा लोगों को लाएंगे in the shape of equity, उतना आपका control आपके हाथ से चला जाएगा. Now say for example, I am the owner of a company. It is in my hands to take a decision. If I involve 3 people more, तो मेरा जो 100% control था वो 25% हो गया because 3 more are there. Now I cannot do myself. इससे मेरा controlling power dilute हो गया ना? So dilution of control is another problem. Once you have to raise the funds. कि भाई कहीं मैंने काम किया, मैंने आइडिया दिया, मैंने सब किया, तो अब इसका फायदा they will skim the cream. तो मेरा जो कंट्रोल उतना नहीं रहेगा. This is one more problem कि हम बाहर से क्यों लोन नहीं लाते हैं, क्या मसला है? उसमें ज्यादा इनिशियली कंपटीशन नहीं होता है, लेकिन at times we have seen कि some startups are there who are faced with some kind of competition also. So it is very difficult to withstand the competition before big players. Small startup small होता है, it makes a small beginning, बाद में बड़ा बन जाता है, लेकिन makes a small, the modest beginning. लेकिन जब आगे जाके इसको competition आता है, तो it may not sustain or it may not withstand the pressure of competition. तो वहां पे भी खतरा लाक हो सकता है. अब once these things are there, you have vulnerability in startups. You are not willing to dilute your control, and you have stiff competition. And more probably that others are not going to fund you at a very, very beginning. When you are floating your idea, you are working on it, you are conducting trials. Next slide, Jai. अब यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि what government said कि चूंकि at the early stage nobody is going to help the startups. When angel investor is not going to help you that way, when venture capitalist is not going to help you that way at the very early stage, जब आपका idea आता है, you work on it. You have to prepare a proof of concept. You have to develop a prototype. You have to conduct market trials, and nobody is going to fund you that time. जब वहां आपको कोई पैसा नहीं देगा तो you will not start, क्योंकि आपके पास पैसा है नहीं, अपना भी नहीं है और कोई और भी देने को तैयार नहीं है. So you will not be moving ahead. The government felt it. Government said that at this stage government should intervene. Maybe later on they will get the money from venture capitalists. Maybe they will get the money from angel investors. Maybe they will get money from friends and relatives also. But at this stage, the people are not willing to help them because of vulnerability. तो यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट को करना चाहिए इंटरवीन इन ऑर्डर टू हेल्प द स्टार्टअप्स. तो फॉर दैट मैटर व्हाट गवर्नमेंट सेड कि लेट दे लॉन्च several schemes. I am going to touch upon a few so that which meets the purpose of this interaction. So Stand Up India was there, Startup India was there, Chunauti was there, Digital India agencies was there, skill development and entrepreneurship, and many more programs have been launched from time to time. But I am making mention of a few only here, what actually government contemplated in order to intervene at this very stage where others are not going to finance you when you are at a critical stage. यानी जब critical stage है patient का तो blood की जरूरत है तो nobody is willing to provide it. तो there is a question of death. It's a value of death. It may go into value of death. अब इसको इस value of death से बचाना है. It may not go into value of death so that it can move forward. वो आगे जाके उसको खुद लोग मदद भी करेंगे और अपना पैसा भी generate होगा. तो here the first one is Stand Up India. Next please. This scheme was launched by Government of India in 2016. Even Startup India was also, but I am going to develop on Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. Lekin these two schemes, Startup India and Stand Up India, these were launched in 2016. And this Stand Up India was actually particularly meant for scheduled tribe and scheduled caste people and also women, potential entrepreneurs who wanted to have their startup. Now, you can see according to the scheme, bank loan between 10 lakhs to 1 crore can be borrowed by at least one scheduled caste or scheduled tribe borrower, or at least one woman entrepreneur per bank branch to set up a greenfield enterprise. Greenfield again means a startup which is starting from a scratch. It is not an existing business. It is not an inherited business. You are starting from zero, and here you can get this fund. The greenfield enterprise may be after manufacturing, service or trading sector. कोई भी sector हो सकता है. In the case of non-individual enterprises, it is mandatory. This is not meant for individuals. Now, if at all it is for the person who is taking a claim is a corporate entity, a partnership, whatever it is, then in that case, there needs to be at least 51% shareholding by a woman or a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, which means substantial shareholding has to be in the hands of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or women. Only then they can get benefit of this. Next, please. अब इसमें eligibility क्या है? Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and or female entrepreneurs over the age of 18, because 18 is the age under Indian Majority Act of 1872. A person who has not attained age of 18 years is a minor. So you cannot have a dealing with a minor. You cannot have an agreement with a minor. क्योंकि 18 से नीचे है, तो 18 से बालिग बनता है, तो 18 से ही, इसलिए 18 के एज के ऊपर होना चाहिए. Only then he can apply for this kind of scheme. Loans under the initiative are exclusively available for greenfield projects. New projects के लिए है. In this sense, the greenfield refers to beneficiaries initial foray into the manufacturing, service and trading sectors. Now, in the event of non-individual firms, अब जहाँ non-individual firm है, either SC, ST or women entrepreneur must own 51% of the shareholding. तब जाके वो eligible बन सकते हैं to have this kind of loan. The borrower must not be in arrears with any bank or financial institutions. लेकिन इसके ऊपर कोई कर्जा नहीं होना चाहिए arrears में, बकाया किसी बैंक का. Only then he or she shall be eligible to apply for this kind of loan under Stand Up India scheme. If at all you want to have a greenfield enterprise, you want to have a startup, you can apply for this kind of loan. Number one. Next, please. Now, Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, it was launched in 2021. Startup India was announced in 2016, but this seed fund scheme, there also under that scheme, there were some incentives. But seed fund scheme was implemented from 2021 because government sensed that at early stage, said that government should provide seed fund. क्योंकि यहाँ पे उनको कोई मदद नहीं कर रहा है, तो उससे क्या होता है कि जो स्टार्टअप करना चाहेगा वो नहीं करता है, क्योंकि उसके पास पैसा नहीं है, बाहर वाले लोग देने को तैयार नहीं है. तो here government has a responsibility that they should provide the seed fund in the very beginning, so as to encourage our youth to have the startups, to pitch their ideas and to create an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now here, what is required for this startup fund seed fund scheme, as I said earlier also, you have to validate your proof of concept, because once you will apply for this, you have to apply through an incubator, then it will go to the expert committee, they will evaluate your project, and thereafter there are certain parameters they will see, then you can be considered for financing for seed fund under Startup India Fund seed scheme. Now, that what is required there is validate, first of all, your proof of concept. Your idea is to be validated, whether this is substantial, this is going to address any social or other issue, any problem, whether it can be a worthwhile solution for a particular problem. This is to be validated by the experts. Then once you will it will be seen that the idea is valid. Then you have to develop a prototype also, how it will work. Thereafter, you have to have market entry, and after market entry, you have to go for business commercialization. So that this one is penetration into the market, then actually you have to commercialize. There are some nitty-gritties involved in this scheme, what you will do at every stage, but that may not be possible to elaborate in this session because we have paucity of time also. Next, please. Now, eligibility for this seed fund scheme is, first thing is that it should be recognized by Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade as a company, firm, limited liability partnership, but not sole proprietorship. So sole proprietors are not entitled to this kind of seed fund scheme. If at all you want to have a startup and you want to get the funding out of the seed fund scheme, then you have to register yourself as a company, private company, as a limited liability partnership, or as a firm. You can register, but it is not meant for sole one person doing business. Sole proprietors is not meant for those. So you have to have this registered by because Department of Promotion for Industry and Internal Trade has been given the charge of handling this scheme. So that is why you have to approach them. You have to get the yourself registered. And you have to register as a company, approach them as a firm under Partnership Act of 1932, or it can be a limited liability partnership under Act of 2008. It should not be more than 2 years old. दो से ज़्यादा साल की business नहीं होनी चाहिए. So it has to be a new business, a startup. No fund has been raised from state and central government of 10 lakhs or more. 10 लाख तक लिया है तो कोई problem नहीं. 10 लाख से ज़्यादा अगर लिया होगा तो you are not entitled to apply for this scheme. At least 51% shareholding is by Indian promoters. So if you are a firm, you are a company, you are a limited liability partnership, तो उसमें obviously many people will be involved there. It is not individual को नहीं मिलता है. तो उसमें भी जो भारत के बाशिंदे हैं उनकी शेयर होल्डिंग प्रमोटर्स की होनी चाहिए at least 51%. 51% क्यों होता है? It is more than half, which means कि ordinary control इनके पास ही होगा. 51% means कि ordinary control is in the hands of Indian people. क्योंकि कोइंसिडेंस हो सकती है कि बाहर वाले लोग भी हो सकते हैं पार्टनर्स. सो इंडियन प्रमोटर्स हैव टू बी एट लीस्ट 51, एट लीस्ट मिनिमम. दे कैन बी मोर, दे कैन बी 100, दे कैन बी 80, दे कैन बी 70, बट एट लीस्ट 51% हैज टू बी देयर. बिजनेस आइडिया शुड फिट इनटू द मार्केट. सो प्रोडक्ट फिट मार्केट शुड बी देयर. कि आपका जो प्रोडक्ट है इट शुड फिट द मार्केट. इट शुड मीट द नीड्स ऑफ योर क्लाइंटेल और द पीपल होम यू आर गोइंग टू टारगेट. तो उनके लिए होना चाहिए, ये भी उनको देखना है. इसमें क्या है? फॉर वैलिडेशन, प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट एंड मार्केट ट्रायल्स यू विल गेट 20 lakhs of rupees. तो हियर इज द रेमेडी इन्वॉल्व कि जो पैसा आपको बाकी लोग नहीं दे रहे थे, जो एंजल इन्वेस्टर देने को तैयार नहीं था, जो आपकी फैमिली फंड्स देने को तैयार नहीं थे, जो वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट आपको देने को तैयार नहीं था, यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ने इंटरवीन करके कहा कि भाई हमारी तरफ से इनको 20 लाख रुपए दे दो इस स्टेज पे, लेकिन प्रोवाइडेड दे फुलफिल दिस क्राइटेरिया एंड दे मीट द रिक्वायरमेंट्स ऑफ दिस स्कीम. अगर ये करते हैं मीट आउट द क्राइटेरिया, गिव देम 20 lakhs फॉर वैलिडेशन, फॉर प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट एंड मार्केट ट्रायल्स. क्योंकि यहाँ तक डिफिकल्टी ज्यादा है. Thereafter, you can get 50 lakhs investment for market entry, commercialization, business scale up through convertible debenture, debt-linked instruments. तो या इसके बाद again, once you have succeeded, trials have succeeded, you have entered the market. Now you need to scale up. You need growth and scale up. For scale up, this scheme contains a provision that you can get 50 lakhs of rupees, but that would not be a grant. That would be in the shape of debt. ठीक है ना? Convertible debentures, debt, whatever it is. क्योंकि ये पैसा आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, वापस करना है बाद में along with the interest. But आपकी जो requirement as on date है वो meet out तो हो गई. And seed fund not to be used for creation of facilities. बाकी ये seed fund जो है ये इसलिए नहीं है कि that you will create some facility, आप एक रूम बनाएंगे जहां काम करेंगे, capital expenses में नहीं है. It is seed fund is meant for validation of your this idea, product development and market trial. इसमें जो आपको पैसा लगना है उसी पे खर्च करना है. You cannot create any facility out of it. यानी आप कोई ऐसा इक्विपमेंट लाएंगे जो अदरवाइज इसके लिए नीडेड नहीं होगा. It is specifically meant for product development and this trials and validation of your idea. उसके लिए आपको ये 20 लाख मिल सकता है और 50 उसके बाद फॉर स्केल अप. नेक्स्ट. यस, इनको माइक दे दो बेटा, माइक दे दो इनको. No. No, that is 20 lakh is a grant. It's a grant. और दूसरा जो है, it will be in the shape of debt equity which you have to repay. It's a grant.
We don't need to pay back.
No. This grant is not to be paid back. It will be for validation product. क्योंकि हो सकता है कि it may fail also later on. There is no guarantee that your validation of this idea will succeed. So once it will collapse, who will give the money? So this is the stage, critical stage. When the patient is on deathbed, you have to save. And that's why you cannot expect that it will be. So scheme says it is a grant. Scheme says it is a grant to the startups. But जो बाकी 50 लाख है, that is in the shape of debt, वो कर्जा है. ठीक है? You have to draw a clear distinction between the two. This is as per the guidelines of the scheme.
So what will be the probability that our startup will get selected?
Pardon?
Sir, what will be the probability that our startup will get selected?
Probability is 100% because government has earmarked a good chunk of money for that. Only thing is that if you meet the criteria, जो मैं आपके साथ अभी डिस्कस करूंगा, if you meet the criteria, there is a 100% possibility that you will get it. और जो criteria है that we have to meet, वो मैं आपके साथ अभी डिस्कस करूंगा. No, it is debt. It is debt is there. The convertible debentures are there. That means you will give them debentures first. The debenture is again a debt. Lekin it can be later on converted into equity also. There is a possibility.
What is what in case they denied it is often that so many times managers of the banks are denying these things. So what in this?
No, you have not to go to the bank. Rather, it is a scheme that has been launched by Government of India. Money has to come from Government of India. It is not to be given by the bank. Bank will, once the case is cleared by Department of Industry Promotion and Internal Trade, तो बैंक को क्लियर नहीं जाएगी भाई उसको पैसा दे दो हमारा पैसा है. Just like you give a check to someone कि आपके खाते में वहाँ पैसा है तो बैंक आपको उसको देता है on your behalf. Same is here. What is actually required is that you have to fulfill the criteria of that has been set by the scheme by the government. If you meet that criteria, government will approve it. Once it is approved, it will be paid through the medium of bank. That's all it is. Bank has no role in this.
Some government portals that can apply.
Yes. You can apply Startup India. You can apply on the portal. Yes, that is there. Because it has to go to the incubators. Then incubators will send it to the expert committee. Expert committee will evaluate it. They will convey, and money has been given to incubators now. It has been earmarked to incubators. So, जब clear होगा case, तो either to incubators have been given consultancy, training, mentorship. लेकिन अब उनके पास पैसा भी है. जब गवर्नमेंट कहेगी भाई हाँ इसका क्लियर है इसको दे दो इतना पैसा, they will provide it. Incubator compulsory for this scheme. Next please. It is a repo rate. That is the rate generally on which the Reserve Bank of India is giving loans to banks. Next, please. जरा पीछे जाइए. हाँ, अब ये है now there is a mechanism of incubator. से मैंने कहा incubator भी they have been identified by the government under the scheme. अब incubator के लिए funding जो होगी आपकी, it will be through incubators. And incubator itself has to be a society under Societies Registration Act of 1860. Or it has to be a trust under Indian Trusts Act of 1872, or it has to be a private company or a statutory body promulgated by the Act of Parliament or state legislature. ये incubator जो है इसको ये इख्तियार दिया गया है that he can be in the middle of government and the startup. बीच में incubator है, लेकिन incubator has to be a responsible entity. It has to be a society, a trust, a private company or a statutory body. यानी उनकी बाज़ाब्ता रजिस्ट्रेशन होनी चाहिए ऐसा. Now, incubator should have been operational for at least 2 years on the date of application. जब आपने अप्लाई किया, उन्होंने अप्लाई किया कि हमें इसमें आप शामिल करो स्कीम में. Incubator must have facilities to seat at least 25 individuals. incubator must have at least 5 startups undergoing incubation. Then incubator shall have a chief executive officer supported by capable man. Then incubator shall not disburse seed fund to incubators using funding from third parties or private entity. Which means कि जो भी seed fund है, that seed fund has to come from this scheme. जो मैंने अभी 20 लाख का बता दिया, and this is to be provided through the incubator, और incubator को फिर उसको किसी और third party से seed fund नहीं दिलाना है. That is a condition. So this is condition for incubators. That was condition for startups. Now उसके बाद वो क्या पैरामीटर देखेंगे, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पे जाइए. ये देखिए, these are actually the parameters which have to be looked into. Number one, is there need for this idea? ये इसका मार्केट साइज क्या हो सकता है, मार्केट गैप क्या है, सोल्यूशन टू रियल वर्ल्ड प्रॉब्लम इसमें क्या है. विच मीन्स कि जो इनक्यूबेटर है, जब उसके पास केस जाएगा, he will send it onwards to DIDT, तो वहां पे एक्सपर्ट असेसमेंट कमेटी है, उसके मेंबर्स हैं, बाजा बड़े बड़े लोग हैं जो भारत के हैं. दे इवैल्यूएट इट, और वो क्या चीज देखते हैं, दे सी दीज थिंग्स. नंबर वन, कि क्या इनका जो आइडिया है, इज इट रियली गोइंग टू सॉल्व एनी सोशल प्रॉब्लम और एनी अदर प्रॉब्लम. ये पहली बात वो देख रहे हैं कि इनक्यूबेटर, ये इसका जो आइडिया है वो कैसा है. Agar if they are satisfied, the idea is very good, it is a solution to some real situation, real problem confronted by the society, तो वो इसको ओके कर सकते हैं, प्रोवाइडेड इसकी फीजिबिलिटी क्या है, यानी जो टेक्निकल क्लेम्स करता है, या प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट है, या रोड मैप है, या प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट है, वेदर दिस इज एक्सेप्टेबल और नॉट, ये होगा कि नहीं होगा. अब ये बिल्कुल प्लेन बात है. If I tell you that I can jump 3 feet high, you will trust me. Is it possible? If I will say I will jump 100 feet high, will you trust me? So इनको देखना है कि अगर ये 100 feet की जंप का तकाजा कर रहा है, तो whether it is possible or not, it is practicable. So that is why feasibility is to be seen. Third is potential impact का क्या होगा, what would be the impact of this innovation, this startup, technological effect on customer demographics क्या होगा, novelty, USP, unique selling proposition, इसकी क्या novelty है, newness क्या है, what is there which is not otherwise available, ये भी ये लोग देखेंगे. Then team, the people who are running this show, whether they are capable enough to carry it forward. Because I'm reminded of once Bank of America, they were issuing this small business report or publication. They said in that case, nearly 90% business failures are caused by managerial inefficiency and incompetence. उन्होंने देखा वहां पे रिसर्च करके कि जो भी बिजनेस फेल होता है, उसमें 90% कारण होता है कि उसकी मैनेजमेंट अच्छी नहीं होती, उसका टीम अच्छा नहीं होता, और यही वजह बनता है फॉर फेलियर ऑफ बिजनेस. इसीलिए यहां भी देखना है इनको कि द टीम दैट इज क्लेमिंग देयर, आर दे टेक्निकली ओरिएंटेड, आर दे आर कैपेबल अनफ, डू दे हैव दोस स्ट्रेंथ्स कि दे कैन कैरी इट फॉरवर्ड. ये टीम भी उनको देखना है कि वेदर इट इज सब्सटेंशियल और नॉट. और इनका जो फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट होगा, फंड यूटिलाइजेशन प्लान, कि पैसा इनको मिलेगा तो कैसे इसको यूटिलाइज करेंगे, किस स्टेज पे कितना करेंगे, ये भी इनको देखना है. और अगर कोई एडिशनल पैरामीटर उनको लगा कि भाई इसमें ये भी होना चाहिए, whether they meet that or not. If you fulfill these parameters under this scheme, then I believe there is no question this proposal can be denied. No question. It will be accepted provided you. Now, अब कहीं पे अगर deficiency है तो they will not undertake the responsibility on their shoulders. They will say no, it is deficient. So they may not clear it. But once it is clear, by all means, they will also approve it. So don't be under this optimism that there is a possibility that we can move ahead provided our this parameters are fulfilled. Next, please. Now, this is with respect to IISER Stand Up India and Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. If really you want to have a startup, how you can get the finances, either privately or through government. What are the difficulties in private financing? What are the difficulties in government financing? How you have to meet your requirements so that you can fund your startup. This is one part which I discussed. I discussed two parts with you. Number one, what actually I mean by a startup. Number second, how we can raise funds privately or through government. लेकिन बीच में एक और है, इसमें गवर्नमेंट की और भी कुछ स्कीमें हैं जो मैं आपके साथ बाद में शेयर करूंगा. लेकिन गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है कि इन ऑर्डर टू हैव द स्टार्टअप कल्चर, स्टार्टअप एंटरप्रेन्योरियल इकोसिस्टम इन द कंट्री, we should align this startup and entrepreneurship idea with our institutions of higher education. यानी जो हमारे कॉलेजेस हैं, यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, वहीं से हमने टैप करना है पोटेंशियल को. जो हमारे बच्चे वहां के हैं, उनके पास आइडियाज होते हैं, ठीक है ना, दे टिंकर द आइडियाज, तो उनको कैच करना है वहीं पे, कैच देम देयर एंड यंग, सो दैट दे कैन वर्क ऑन दोज आइडियाज. फॉर दैट मैटर्स, they wanted to have a uniform policy for all the universities and colleges across the country. Other than aligning it with the next new education policy 2020 in as far as skill development is concerned. ये other than that है कि गवर्नमेंट ने 19 में ही किया था a policy they framed कि how we should promote student startups. अब every institution is supposed to have a unit there as far as startup and entrepreneurship is concerned. Where from they will get the money? Because students are students, they are in the classroom, how they can work here. So everything was contained in that policy, how you can nurture your students in your colleges and universities so that they can build up their own enterprises, they can start their own startups, and their ideas are not suppressed. ये हर एक के पास कोई आइडिया होता है, लेकिन वो रिवील नहीं करता है. वो कहते हैं कि एक ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट बनना चाहिए सो दैट दे कैन कम फॉरवर्ड, एक्सप्रेस देयर आइडिया एंड मूव फॉरवर्ड. तो उसमें क्या है, द सेलेक्ट फीचर्स ऑफ दैट स्कीम कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप प्रमोशन डेवलपमेंट शुड बी वन ऑफ द मेजर डिमेंशंस ऑफ हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस. ये कहते हैं कि इट इज वन ऑफ द मेजर डिमेंशंस इन ऑल हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस कि दे मस्ट फोकस ऑन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप among the culture of entrepreneurship among the students in their respective institutions. ये पॉलिसी में लाया गया. This is the line of action. Number second, ये जो इसके लिए पैसा आएगा, that should be done at the institute level, whether it is pre-incubation or incubation level. ये institution को देखना है कि इसके लिए जो पैसा लगेगा, they have to provide it. दो बातें. तीन, creation of separate innovation fund to which a minimum of 1% of annual budget be allocated for funding innovation and startups. जो कॉलेज या यूनिवर्सिटी का बजट होगा, उसका 1% अमाउंट we have to earmark, keep it aside as a fund, separate fund, which is called innovation fund. वो पैसा उसमें जाएगा, and that will be actually used for this, other than many other ways. Possibilities be explored to fundraising from other sources to reduce dependency on public funding. और institution को करना चाहिए, they should also hunt for possibilities to have money from other sources. तो उसमें आपका जो पहला है, that is corporate social responsibility. As was said earlier also, under 2013 Amendment Act of Companies Act, Companies Amendment Act of 2013, there is a provision now in the act that the corporates are supposed to earmark at least 2% of the average profits of the last 3 financial years every year and invest that towards corporate social responsibility. अब ये corporate social responsibility का element क्यों है कि जो corporate यहाँ काम कर रही है, तो हम उसके customers हैं, we have reposed our trust in them, तो उनको कुछ repay करना चाहिए society को भी. This is actually the idea. अब दूसरी बात है how they manipulated, वो दूसरी बात है. लेकिन here, since we are running the institutions, particularly in the public sector, whether universities or colleges, they don't have any problem to provide us under CSR, जितना उनसे possible होगा. And more particularly in those states and UTs of India, where we have a very, very strong corporate sector. जहाँ पे corporate sector बड़ा मजबूत है, there are more possibilities that you can get CSR funding. तो इसीलिए पॉलिसी में कहा गया, you should explore possibility of having funding from outsiders also, including CSR, including donations, so on and so forth. Public spending जो है 1% जो आपने रखा है, इस पे ज्यादा डिपेंड मत रहिए. You just hunt for other sources of income also, तो उनको अलाइन कीजिए इसके साथ. Now external funding from government agencies like DST, MHRD, AICTE, MSME, CSIR, ये इनके पास भी स्कीम्स हैं। ये जो हमारे डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, they have different schemes. तो under those schemes, say for example, skill development scheme is there under Ministry of skill development. So we should align our college to those schemes also, so that we can get funding from there also. तो CSR भी आ गया, बाकी डिपार्टमेंट्स भी आ गए और कॉलेज का अपना बजट भी आ गया, तो ये पूल सारा जाएगा इनोवेशन फंडिंग में. Then CSR to be explored, particularly by technology incubators. Next, please. And other ways can be through sponsorships, donations, alumni network for promoting innovation startup. क्योंकि every college needs to have an alumni association. Alumni are the people who have already graduated from the institution. Now, जिस तरह माँ ने उनको पाला है जब वो आप स्टूडेंट्स थे वहां पे, अब वो बड़े हो गए, अब उनको माँ को पालना है, माँ बूढ़ी हो गई है, so they have to provide funds to them. तो alumni का एक रोल होता है, we should have a very strong alumni association so that they can also supplement our efforts कि इसमें स्टार्टअप में. तो ये भी पॉलिसी में लिखा गया है. स्टूडेंट फैकल्टी स्टार्टअप पॉलिसी भी डिवाइडेड एट इंस्टीट्यूशन लेवल, और हर एक इंस्टीट्यूशन को स्टूडेंट स्टार्टअप पॉलिसी होनी चाहिए. एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कल्चर शुड बी टेकन. तो आप ये पॉलिसी कहते हैं कि इट शुड नॉट बी कन्फाइंड टू 4 walls ऑफ योर इंस्टीट्यूशन, यूनिवर्सिटी है या कॉलेज है. यू शुड हैव कम्युनिटी एंगेजमेंट, यू हैव टू गो आउट ऑफ योर कॉलेज. यस सर. तो व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड कि यू शुड एक्सटेंड इट टू द कम्युनिटी आल्सो. यानी जो आपका ये एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कल्चर है, स्टार्टअप है, यू शुड कम आउट ऑफ द 4 walls ऑफ योर इंस्टीट्यूशन, देन एंगेज द लोकल कम्युनिटी. उनके साथ काम करना है, वहां पे बिल्डअप करने हैं स्टार्टअप्स. यानी ये महदूद नहीं रखना है अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन तक. And then pre-incubation and incubation facilities be made available 24/6. Next 27. तो ये ने पूरा हफ्ता ये होना चाहिए फैसिलिटी स्टूडेंट्स को. नेक्स्ट थोड़ा सा इसमें वो है, आप ये कहते हैं कि इफ एट ऑल यू हैव टू गो फॉर टेक्नोलॉजी इंक्यूबेशन कम्युनिकेशन बी रजिस्टर्ड एज सेक्शन 8 कंपनी. मैंने आपके साथ वो डिस्कस किया. हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन में प्रोवाइड मेंटरिंग सर्विसेज थ्रू प्री इंक्यूबेशन इंटरेस्ट इन रिटर्न फॉर फी इक्विटी. Students be allowed to register a company by using institute address. अगर स्टूडेंट कंपनी बनाना चाहता है तो एड्रेस वो अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन का दे सकता है, should be allowed. अच्छा, मिनिमम अटेंडेंस शुड नॉट बी अ बार फॉर दोज स्टूडेंट्स हु वांट टू डेवलप अ स्टार्टअप. यानी आपकी मिनिमम अटेंडेंस होती है कॉलेज में 75% होनी चाहिए. पॉलिसी में लिखा था इफ दे आर इन्वॉल्व इन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ देयर आइडिया, स्टार्टअप में, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में, उनके लिए मिनिमम अटेंडेंस का क्राइटेरिया नहीं होना चाहिए. Even they should be allowed a semester break if they want to work and then come back. That is also possibility there. And student entrepreneurs can be accommodated within the college or university for some time, ताकि वो ट्रेन हो जाए. Next. इसके साथ साथ कहा गया कि कॉलेज एंड यूनिवर्सिटी should start management programs also, ताकि उसके साथ साथ उनका ये भी चले, MBA, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट डेवलपमेंट मैनेजमेंट, ताकि उनको डिग्री भी मिलेगी और यहाँ से वो अपने आइडिया पे काम भी करेंगे. दोनों चीजें उनके साथ साथ हो जाएंगी. ये भी पॉलिसी में लिखा गया है. How much flexibility is there? Institution shall provide all possible facilities in return for. Now, institution को हर एक possibility देनी है, but they can be the equity holders later on up to 2% to 9.5% equity ले सकता है institution भी. But they have to facilitate, provide all the possibility. अगर आप वो IPR, intellectual property right, patent, रजिस्टर करना चाहता है बच्चा, so that can be a joint property of the institute and the student if both are involved in development of the idea. ठीक है. Next please. तो यहाँ पे और एक कुछ we are running short of time. मैं इनकी तरफ एक स्कीम है चुनौती. This was also next पे जाइए. ये भी एक है, you can go through the scheme. Next. Then we have Digital India Genesis scheme. I will not elaborate on this because you have to go for lunch also. Next please. Then skill development and entrepreneurship is there. So you can go through the details through internet. Next please. So ideation is very important, as Honorable Prime Minister at one point of time said, take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea, let the brain, muscles, nerve, every part of our body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success. This is what Honorable Prime Minister said. Next please. These are some schemes. Next, you can go through the internet later on. Thank you very much. If you have any question, you can ask me, because I admire your patience that you have been with me very silent, cool, and calm. Despite the fact that I have trespassed into your lifestyle. So generally, we people don't compromise on lunch, but you have remained very silent. I thank you for your patience and perseverance. So I have to say many more things we do discuss with you, but there is a constraint of time. I may not continue this time because I cannot be between your lunch and you now anymore. That would be unjust. If you have any question, you can ask me and then you can move further.
Excuse me, sir. The SISFS scheme funds are disbursed. That Startup India Seed Fund scheme funds are disbursed to incubators.
Yes.
To startups. But which body takes a decision on that which startup will get the funds? Is it Startup India body or is it the incubator will decide that I have 15 startups incubated and out of these 15 startups, these startups will get the fund?
No. This is not to be decided by the incubator. Incubator is a middle line. He is a link between the government and the startups. He has to move on the papers. There is an expert committee, expert evaluation committee is there. So they actually evaluate your idea, your proof of concept. If they are satisfied that your startup needs funding and it deserves to be funded, it is a substantial idea, they will approve it through Department of Industry Promotion and Internal Trade. They are actually doing it. They will approve it and then incubator को पैसा दिया गया है. This much money is with you. तो उसमें से उसको उतना देना है. Whatever is the financial implication of that idea.
Just section 8 incubator कोई भी हो सकता है. मतलब कॉलेज का इंक्यूबेटर कोई भी कॉलेज का इंक्यूबेटर चलेगा या गवर्नमेंट.
Anybody can be an incubator or a body of persons provided they register themselves as a company under section 8. Section 8 इसलिए क्योंकि section 8 का मतलब ये नहीं होता कि जो चलाएगा वो पैसा मिलेगा. Otherwise he could have formed a normal company. Section 8 इसलिए कि अगर profit होगा भी वो वहीं पे रखना है, उसको घर में लेना है. तो he should be a section 8 company or a trust under Indian Trust Act or a society under Societies Registration Act or a statutory body. Statutory body का मतलब हो गया कि कोई body जिसको पार्लियामेंट के कानून से बनाया गया है, माध्यम से बनाया गया है.
How much time it will take? Suppose अगर proposal करते हैं तो funding के लिए एक tentative time क्या होता है इसका?
नहीं, इसमें कोई time frame नहीं दिया गया है because there is Public Service Guarantee Act कि your cases are to be disposed of in a certain time limit. उसके लिए कानून बना है. They are supposed to adhere this. लेकिन it depends upon कि अगर आपका जो proof of concept है, जो आपको formalities करने हैं, if you have completed all those formalities without any difficulty smoothly, तो it should not take much time. ठीक है ना? 2-3 महीने का चक्कर होगा, बाकी ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगना. लेकिन if you have some difficulty, it will come back, it will take more time. Yes, any
Sir, is there any scheme for school students? Like you have higher education institute scheme?
Yes, there is Atal Innovation Mission. There are tinkering labs for school children.
Okay.
Under Atal Innovation Mission.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Anything? Yes, please. This seed fund scheme has been started in 2021. It will be for probably 4 or 5 years. तो अभी तो चल रहा है. इस वक्त फंड साथ अवेलेबल है. हाँ, you can. क्योंकि initially it is for 5 years, तो 4 या 5 years, तो वो अभी पीरियड चल रहा है. ठीक है ना? It may last in 2025 or 26. तो उस वक्त तक आप कर सकते हैं anytime. Because there is budget allocation for this. Probably 10,000 crores. Anything more? Other than this, on startups, anything else, entrepreneurship, if you want to ask any question. I think there are no questions. So let me thank you once again for staying with me. And I am really honored to be here and to be among this future hope and very dynamic people of our country. And I believe that you can carve a niche and you can make your presence felt wherever you are. Because I understand your seriousness towards listening to all these things and I see a ray of hope in all of you. Thank you very much. I have come all the way from Kashmir to have this program here. So, and thank you all, and invite you sometimes to Kashmir also to host you there. Thank you very much.
So I would like to thank Professor Fiaz Ahmed for such an informative session, and I request Dr. C.S. Verma, Assistant Director, CRO Region AICT, to facilitate Dr. Professor Ahmed. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. आपका धन्यवाद. आपने हमारी सहायता की. हाँ, ये
Lunch break, please. Move to your